Longtime fans of Berserk and anime fans in general, it's time to rejoice. A new trailer has been dropped by Studio Eclipse, people currently developing the latest anime adaptation of Berserk. The trailer, titled Berserk, The Black Swordsman, is the second one that they've put out so far for the series. The studio claims that they've taken into account feedback from various sources, including fans of the show, on how to improve the quality of the anime, which they seem to have done after taking a look at the latest trailer. The new trailer addressed several concerns, especially regarding the fluidity of the animation, which seemed to be suffering as a result of extremely high levels of detail in the scenes. The trailer, which is 3 minutes and 39 seconds long, is densely packed full of characters and scenes that die-hard fans of the series will immediately recognize. There's a lot there to unpack and talk about for both long-term and new fans of the series, so please stick with us right to the end of the video to find out all there is to know. In this video, we'll break down the trailer, trying to provide a well-rounded base so that you're well prepared when the anime comes out. So, without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. Brief history of Berserk and its anime adaptations. Before we dive into the meat and bones of this video, we understand that some of the people watching this might be new to Berserk and wondering what all the hype was about. We hope you grizzled veteran fans of the show are okay with us giving an extremely brief explanation about the series, so kindly bear with us. Berserk is a seminal work in the dark fantasy genre by the late legendary mangaka Kentaro Miura. It's set in an extremely well-crafted and lore-rich medieval world. The series follows the story of Guts, a towering man who carries a sword of his own proportions in his quest to avenge his lover Casca and kill his once best friend and leader, Griffith. Berserk is definitely not for the squeamish and the faint of heart, as it contains a large amount of graphic violence and deals with extremely mature and grotesque themes like sex, rape, and cannibalism, to name a few. The series is, however, not just some run-of-the-mill body horror show meant to provide cheap shocks to capture the audience's attention. The story of the show is well crafted with lots of depth, including characters that are extremely layered. 35 years after its first publication, this series still attracts new fans to this day and has inspired some of your favorite video games, anime, and mangas. Berserk was initially given an anime adaptation in 1997. It aired for 25 episodes between October 8, 1997 and April 1, 1998, and covered the Golden Age arc of the manga. And later, in between 2012 and 2013, a trilogy of films would be released that would once again mostly cover the events of the Golden Age arc. The series would receive another anime adaptation between 2016 and 2017. The first season of this adaptation would be 12 episodes long and would cover the Conviction arc, with its second season, which ran for a further 12 episodes, would cover the first half of the Falcon of the Millennium arc of the manga. We're approaching a decade now with another anime adaptation, and fans of the series were thirsting for another one soon. Their prayers would be answered when Studio Eclipse released a pilot trailer for Berserk Black Swordsman on May 18, 2024, sending a wave of hype throughout the fan base. The second trailer, which is the topic of our video, dropped today, and it got everyone in a frenzy. Trailer breakdown. The anime that's scheduled to start airing in 2025 will be covering the titular Black Swordsman arc of the manga. The arc was briefly touched upon in both the 1997 and 2016 anime adaptations of the series. In the 1997 anime, the events of the Black Swordsman arc are briefly shown in the show's first episode before it cuts to the Golden Age arc, while in the 2016 adaptation, it's referred to at the end of the show. The events of the Black Swordsman arc take place in between the Golden Age arc and the Conviction arc, even though it was the first arc to be published by Miura in his manga. The trailer kicks off with the narrator saying the following words: "In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering above? At least, it's true that man has no control, even over his own will." This is an immediate homage to the first anime adaptation of 1997 and the first chapter of the manga, both of which start with the very exact quote. While largely appearing esoteric in nature, the quote is Miura's way of foreshadowing the themes in Berserk and is a commentary on humanity in general, with Guts as the focus. Man takes up the sword in order to shield the small wound in his heart sustained from a far-off time beyond remembrance. Man wields the sword so that he may die smiling in some far-off time beyond perception. This is the second half of the quote, which many often don't remember. This makes the author's intention that we spoke about quite clear. It's a beautiful touch by the creators of this new show to pay their respects to the late great Kentaro Miura and their predecessors right off the bat. In the next shot, we're given a glimpse of a castle as a soldier informs their superior about the capture of Guts, after which we see our protagonist strung up by chains with blood dripping from his body. The castle is in the town of Koka, where a majority of the arc takes place. The reason he's in chains and blooded is that on his arrival to the town, in his search for the apostles, servants of the God Hand, band who have given up their humanity to ascend as demons, he kills a number of thugs who serve the lord of the town. An interesting fact is the fight that causes him to be strung up, as we can see, was when he first met Puck, the fairy, who he rescued from the thugs we mentioned earlier. The conversation you hear about his arsenal of weapons is between a soldier who captures him and the town's mayor, who's been sacrificing the townsfolk to satiate the evil apostle lord of the town in order to save his own skin. Guts is being tortured by the mayor and the soldiers for killing the apostle's men, as this would surely incur the wrath of the demon on the town of Coca. The next scene shows the severed head of a woman with a bloody symbol on her head being held by someone. This immediately filled us with a lot of excitement, as we knew what was coming next. The symbol on the forehead of the woman is called the Mark of Sacrifice, which is usually branded on the skin of individuals meant to be sacrificed in a ritual for a person to ascend into a god hand or an apostle. The scene is iconic because the hand holding that head belongs to one of the fan-favorite villains of the series called the Count. The head belongs to an innocent girl he's had executed and has come into his possession after Guts throws it at him after marking her forehead with the brand, declaring war upon him. The story of the Count is one of tragedy and betrayal that leads him down his dark path. We can't wait for the arc to explore this part of the story. If you slow down the video, you'll see that the flickering images when the camera turns to show the Count's face become clear. The images show glimpses of the event which caused him to become an apostle. We see the images of him catching his wife in a pagan orgy in the presence of a demigod figure, which bears a striking resemblance to the pseudo-apostle Great Goat. It's after this, sensing his despair, that his behelit gets activated, leading him down the path of attaining demonhood. The trailer shows us a series of combat montages against some of the arc's notable antagonists. The first one we see is a human that resembles a snake and is aptly called the Snake Baron, who is the Lord of Keiko, which we mentioned earlier. He's a sadistic individual who thrives in human misery, stating he needs no reason to spread evil and anguish in the world. The following person after that he's seen fighting is a giant armored human with a demonic arm. This is none other than Xandor, the Count's captain of the guard in his demonic form after having been bestowed with some of the Count's powers. We're also shown the Count in his true demonic form, which resembles a giant grotesque slug, as he towers over Guts and does battle with him. The montage also includes Guts battling skeletons, as we see a young girl getting impaled by a spear. Curiously, just at the beginning of the montage, we also see a young girl holding the severed head of an older man in her hands. Fans of the show have probably guessed it. This is Colette, a young innocent girl who's seen as a breath of fresh air in this dark world. She's one of the few characters in the series that manages to evoke empathy from Guts, but has a brutal fate, getting slain twice. Once by the spears of the skeleton warriors, as seen in the trailer, and for the second time, well, we'll leave that for you to find out. There's also that scene where Guts is getting it on with a female apostle as she transforms into a demon. This is considered by many to be a tribute by Kentaro Miura to Arnold Schwarzenegger, from whom the character is supposed to be largely inspired. In the movie Conan the Barbarian, Arnold has sex with a witch before he throws her into the fire, and this scene is supposedly paying homage to that. The dialogue that can be heard in the background as the scene plays out is Guts shouting at someone. He mentions that he was sacrificed in the sea of blood so that this individual could stand up above humankind. This refers to the events of the fifth eclipse, where Griffith would sacrifice his comrades of the Band of the Hawk along with his closest friends Casca and Guts to ascend and join the ranks of the God Hand, a pantheon of supremely powerful entities, as their newest member, Femto. As the dialogue ends, we're shown the person he was shouting at, Femto Griffith, extending his arms with a montage that's comprised of stairs behind him. As the montage ends, we're given various snapshots of the apostles during the eclipse, most likely during Griffith's ascension. We're also shown the silhouettes of 5 individuals. These are the archdemons known as the God Hand, former humans who had ascended, leaving their humanity behind. Standing from the viewer's left to right are Slan, Ubik, Void, Femto, and Conrad, the 5 most powerful beings in the Berserk universe. The characters and motivations of the God Hand are very reminiscent of the Cenobites from the Hellraiser series. It's widely known that Kentaro Miura was quite influenced by the Hellraiser series. We're then shown Guts enjoying a moment of respite next to his lover Casca, which is confusing as she shouldn't be with him during the events of this arc. However, as he reaches out to hold her, she transforms into his sword, breaking his reverie. This scene is a powerful one, as moments of peace like these are not meant for one on a quest like Guts. His thirst for vengeance and his love are tied together, having been betrayed by the very man he most looked up to. He sets out at the end of the scene once again, and we finally get to see Puck, the fairy, in this adaptation of the anime. He, yeah, it is a he, is extremely well animated, and is about as goofy and lovable as we'd imagine. Puck is Guts' constant companion, following him on his adventures and acting as a source of comic relief in this grim, dark universe. However, his purpose isn't just limited to being a comic relief. Kentaro Miura uses him as a narrative tool to let the audience know about the emotions that the stoic Guts is feeling at the time, as the fairy can sense the emotions of a person. We can't wait to see more of his and Guts' interaction in the upcoming anime. The scene then changes to a shifting maze of stairs, which seem to go on endlessly before finally stopping in front of Guts, who's on his knees, surrounded by Femto and the rest of the God Hand. Those of us who have read the manga know that this is the alternate dimension created by the Behelit based on the Count's psyche. The Count's world is full of ambiguity, as he's still afraid to die despite transcending humanity, being unloved by his daughter and being betrayed by his wife. The dimension reflects his inner conflict. This is also considered an homage to Dutch artist M.C. Escher's lithograph print called Relativity, as the two bear a striking resemblance. The trailer then ends with credits being given to the awesome people behind this project. Marvelous verdict, from what we can see from the trailer, it pretty much covers all the events that take place during the Black Swordsman arc. It's interesting how it's taken so many decades for one of Berserk's most beloved arcs to get an animated adaptation. Well, like they say, better late than never. We, for one, are grateful for the passion and dedication shown by the entire team at Studio Eclipse for what looks to be an absolute masterpiece. If you ever had any doubts about Berserk's popularity, even after more than 3 decades of the manga's release, look no further than this product of love made by the fans for the fans. It's heartwarming knowing that despite Kentaro Miura's genius not being with us anymore, he's passed on the torch to a new generation of fans who will ensure that his legacy will endure the test of time. The summer of 2025 couldn't come earlier for us. While you wait with the rest of us for this absolute masterpiece, why don't you go check out the other Berserk videos on our channel? We cover everything from character analysis to lore breakdowns and theories regarding Berserk. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe and have a good one.